Hello, Jen.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Good, good. A bit tired, I just came back from holiday, jet lagged and everything. I can't complain. Where do you come from, Jen? Which company?
Actually, I just started. It's like I'm just assisting my friend.
Okay.
Yeah. So
So,
I was just checking this one. So that's why I joined.
okay. Yeah, you're the only person who's not one of our customer yet.
Come again? I'm sorry.
Um, because I was looking at the list of attendees and you're the only person who comes with a Gmail address. So that's why I
Yeah.
was a bit.
Yeah.
So you have Asana already?
Sorry. Hello.
Jen, are you already using Asana?
I'm just checking it out. So I was thinking if I can use it.
Okay,
Yes.
cool. Well, you tell me after. As you know, we are a partner of Asana, so I can always help you answer your question after if you want to know more information or anything. And if you want to go with Asana, we also offer you some technical setup at the beginning, so we can help you for free at the beginning if you decide to go ahead with it.
Oh, okay. A big thanks for that.
Yeah, and people are starting to arrive. Nigel. Hello, Nigel.
No, hey Martin. Hey, Happy
How are
New Year.
you? Happy
I'm
New
good.
Year.
Is that really your house or is that another background?
No, I'm on the beach.
Basically sitting on the
No,
beach. You're not in Europe.
no, I was in Europe. I just came back 2 days ago, so I'm still completely jet lagged. Um, but you still have to move forward. You can't just stay home and say I'm jet lagged, I'm not ready. So
No, that's
there we
just part of
go.
the price you have to pay.
Yeah. How have you
All
been?
that fun. Yeah, excellent. Oh, Asana's always top of the agenda at Hillbrook. So I thought I'd use this to, you know, get a bit of upskilling myself. So thanks for offering this. It's great.
My pleasure. But it's the 101 series first session. So first of all, it's the first time I do it. And second is the very, 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 very first session. So I think you're quite versed already in Asana. I'm not sure if you will learn a lot today.
Oh, no, well, it's all good. And actually, another business that I'm involved in is also going heavily into Asana. So I'm like, right, that's good. I need to
Put me in touch.
learn more. Yeah, absolutely. How many people have you got joining?
Today we should be 12, I think. Hello, Sean. Welcome.
Good morning.
Nice to see you. From Zeder, are you in America or are you in Australia?
Yes, I'm in California.
Okay, cool. So it's very late for you, is it?
About 7 p.m. Not too late.
That's not too late. That's all right. So we got 12 more people who should be joining. Actually, 12, 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 more people. So we'll be waiting for them. Feel free to switch off your camera if you want and put yourself on mute. And yeah, I give usually 5-10 minutes for everyone to join. Then we start.
Should we log into Asana or anything, or it's all you're going to screen share?
Yeah, so essentially I'm going to screen share, but you also have an account, so you have some little work to do to practice. That's why you also have an account. Hello, Dion. Nice to see you.
Good to see you too, Martin. All the best for 2024.
Yay! Beautiful year. It's going to be a beautiful year. John, today will be very much of a repeat of what we did during the Asana Day the first time. So just to let you know, you would see a lot of what you've already seen during those days. And I think we've got 6 or 8 people from your organization, Dion. I can send you the list after.
I tried to get more Hillbrook people here, but I don't know if anyone else registered.
Actually, I can tell you, you've registered twice. So
Oh, have I?
you're here twice. So you 2 people of the company joining today.
And it's
And then-
Sarah, who works with me, is also on the call. Hello, Sarah.
Okay. Hello, Sarah. Hello, Sarah. Hello, John. Hello, Justin.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon. Happy New Year.
Thank you. Happy New Year.
We've got 4 more people to join, so I give them a few more minutes to jump in. And then we'll start. And John, are you from housing as well? Justin?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm from housing as well. Work with Dion and Justin.
We've got Vicky from New Zealand joining in a second. And then we have a few more people from housing who are registered. We will be waiting a bit more. How are you, Justin? Do you have a good end of the year?
And well, thanks, Martin. I did, yeah. I think we're all slowly coming back together, so it's a good way to kick off the year.
So Justin, I just mentioned it to Dion, but what I'm going to present today is the 101 of the introduction to ASANA. So it's the first time we do those training sessions. It came back from our discussions. And it's a lot of a repeat of what you had during your ASANA day. So I don't know how much you will be able to take away from today. The next one we have, so we've separated training into 2 types for everyone. I'm going to actually start the demonstration so I can show you on that. But there are some more advanced sessions that we cover in the coming weeks that might be more interesting for more advanced people. So, all right. Well, welcome everyone, and thank you for joining today. My name is Martin, I'm also Platinum Partner, and today is the very first of our 101 training. So it's the first training, it's the first session, it's the first time we do it. There might be some little hiccups here and there, but we're very happy to have you on board today, and I hope we all get a lot of value of this training. As you know, I am an ASANA consultant, so I do cover a lot of the ASANA functionality. In this training today, we'll be focusing on something very simple, which is an approach of ASANA, what ASANA does, as you can expect from it. And we also be looking at how to use projects, inbox, communication, and collaboration. So the very basic function of ASANA. This training today is recorded. I will send you after the training a copy of the recording and a copy of the presentation. You can circulate it internally for people who couldn't make it today, and that will also be available online so that you can come back to it later. This series of training that we're doing at the moment is part of our managed services, which is a service that we offer to our enterprise customers and to large customers. It's also available for the first few months to all customers. Some of you might not be managed service customer today. You do have different companies on board, so if you have private and confidential information, please be aware that you might be communicating with people that are outside your organization today. The training that we're going to go through today is also part of ASANA official training. So you will probably receive similar training if you go to a training session of ASANA. And if I zoom into a little bit what we'll be covering today, I'm going to skip the introduction of our company. Today we'll be covering the first project. So this is the very first training of our 101 session. The idea is really to provide you with the basic information so you can use ASANA and you can start working with it. We alternate, so every 2 weeks we do a 101 session, and every 2 weeks we do an advanced training. The next training that we'll have on ASANA will be in January 25th, and it will be around notification and sharing. So it's more around collaboration, mobile phones, notifications, and how to work more together. We'll then be looking at first service projects. Today we'll just be covering a project, but in February we'll be looking at how to build a service project with requests, processes, SLAs, internal and external communication. We also have some sessions on reports and dashboards, a little bit more accurate one on personalizing my task and also building workflow. So those are 101 sessions. They run until March, and then we'll have another 3 months of sessions after that, which will probably be a bit of a repeat for the 101. We also have a series of advanced training. So that's more for customers and users who are using ASANA for a while but want to explore advanced capabilities. We'll be starting in January with advanced reporting, pushing a little bit the boundaries of reporting in ASANA. So I know that's something that's been requested a lot, how to do custom report, how to push it to your Power BI, your Tableau, how to do custom reporting with various different systems. Something very trendy, we'll also be looking at AI capabilities in February, and then how to leverage the Microsoft tools and stack with ASANA. So you have Teams, you have Outlook, you have Power BI, you have many different tools from Microsoft. We realize a lot of our customers also use the Microsoft stack, so we decided to do a session on that. After that, we'll be looking at how to do cross-team projects and collaboration, so pushing a little bit the boundaries of the collaboration and see how far we can go with that. And then in March, we'll be looking at Google Suite for our customers using Google Suite. And then we'll be looking at our 5 favorite apps, which we have selected and which we see being very useful for everyone. So you don't have to jump into all those sessions. Those always happen on a Thursday, which is when we have our open question session. I don't expect that our presentation will last an hour and a half, but we have 1 hour and a half open for questions every Thursday. And the idea is you can come, listen to the training, and also come with questions. It's interactive, so don't hesitate to ask questions or to bring your own problems to the table, and we can try to have a look at it together and find solutions together. The agenda today will be looking at ASANA, where ASANA fits, what it does, and how you can use it. We'll be then looking at projects. We'll be doing a bit of homework. So before this training today, you should all have received an invitation to an instance of ASANA that is here for training and for practicing. While I'm speaking, you can try to log in to your instance and start seeing what you have access to. In there, you will be able to create your projects and do some simple tasks. And there's also a section where you can ask questions. So I can answer your questions. I will make some break from time to time to review the questions that comes through. You can also raise your hand and just ask a question if you want. Both are available. We also have a look once we've done the project at how we can collaborate. So, how we can use our inbox, how we can ask questions, how we can share files, how we can solve problems together. And finally, we'll have a look at communication with inbox notification and also your mobile app, and other apps that we have, and other abilities we have to communicate. So I try to find the right pace for this training. I know we have different people with different levels here. If it goes too fast or too slow, don't hesitate to tell me. There's diverse populations, so I'll try to do my best. A few rules of engagement before we jump in. Go ahead, participate, raise your hand. There's some exercise, do it. It will help you to remember. Nice to listen to me, but if you do it, there's much higher chance to remember. Feel free to ask any type of question. There is no bad questions. Maybe someone in the room will answer for me if someone has the answer. Otherwise, I'll do my best to do it. And try it, have a go. You don't have to do just what I show, you can do a bit more. And try to have fun. At the beginning of the year, let's not make it too hard for us. Also, you can see that we have in the session for ASANA, we have ASANA workshop Q&A here. So if you log into your ASANA, you would find the Q&A workshop session. I've sent you an invite before, so if you just click on the link, you arrive. You should be automatically added to this Q&A workshop. This is where you can actually ask questions at any point in time. All right, so first of all, before we jump into ASANA itself, and then I'm going to describe what ASANA does and how it can help us. But can I ask generally the audience today, what tools you are using to do your work nowadays? You might be using a mobile phone, you might be using emails, you might be using other tools. If you want to type your answer into the chat box, I will take them on board and I will read them. We are all using a plethora of tools nowadays. So the stats, thank you, Tracy. Email, SharePoint, Planner, ASANA. Yeah, well, you have ASANA in the mix. That's pretty good. If anyone else wants to put their answer. The stats nowadays that every company use up to 30 or 45 apps in the cloud, and we have over 7,000 cloud apps available. It's hard to count all of them. There's a lot, and that creates a lot of places where you can find information and a lot of ways to lose the information. So one of the things we'll be looking at today is how do we use ASANA to actually put all this together and work better together. I've only Tracy so far who's answered the question. You can also say that you're working with pen and paper. It still exists. But anyway, if you want to share with me. All right, so those tools that we're using today, they have a lot of pain points because they're historical. They've been here, they had a good function, but they don't cover everything. And if we look at what ASANA does and where it comes from, initially ASANA was invented by the number 2 of Facebook, who was working and trying to get his work organized and his project organized and collaboration organized between his teams. And he had stickers on the wall and he was trying to see how can I get things working better. And he invented ASANA, which had a different name at that point. And so it was trying to answer those pain points that we have today. And if we work with email, with SharePoints, with planners, with all those things, we have disparate applications. And it's a bit hard to stay organized. So you might ask yourself, did I forget anything? What is the most important task I should be doing today? Some people start the day by having stand-up meetings and discussing what everyone should be doing today. When is something due? So when am I expecting to actually deliver something? When does my boss expect me to deliver something? And how do I get the answer to one of those things I have to do? So I might receive a request to be on the presentation, but how do I get an answer to that? I might use emails, I might go to a meeting, so it's not always very clear. So how do we actually streamline those pain points and try to get a better way to work? And then the second thing is when we are actually giving or requesting work from someone else is, how do we get update on that work generally? So where are my requests? How do I see the status of what's happening that I had requested to someone? are they aware of the deadline? So are people aware of when things are important for me to be delivered? And who's the next person who's taking care of it? If 2 or 3 people actually assigned to the same person, who is going to be doing it? Usually nobody. And then is everything on track? And I was not using Asana before, and we're having tons of emails. We also were having like meetings and stand-ups, discussing. And then every time we needed to review a project, we have to go through a detailed review of the project. It takes a lot of time. And then COVID happens, and we were all working from home in different places, and that became almost impossible to do. And I really think Asana helps a lot in those cases to actually get things organized and to work together, either remotely or in the same office, but to get a bit organized on those things without always falling into a project management structure, which can be very constraining. So I don't know if any of that resonates for you. For me, that's my everyday. And so when we actually look at managing work and when we think about Asana, we're going to think about different steps. And the first step we think about is recording the work that needs to get done. You can do that with a task list on a piece of paper. You can keep it in your mind, or you can have a meeting with your manager and they will tell you what needs to be done. And then we need to prioritize things and to schedule them, to put them in order so that we can put things, do the things in the right order. And that's not even touching, coordinating with all the other teams and team members. And then we need to do the work. And when we do the work, we need to execute it, we need to communicate, we need to solve problems together, and we need to work with others. And that's going to help us in each of those steps to be more organized and to be able to work better together. So today we're going to cover a really one-on-one version of the training. So it's going to be relatively simple. Well, for me, who does it every day. But I'm sure you find lots of trainings here. At the end of this training, you should be able to, and you should know how to create clear projects. So how to create my projects and how to make sure the team members are all on the same page, that you are all aligned on how what the work needs to be done and who is in charge of what. You should be able to get your daily work organized using My Task, which is a place where we can organize our work in Asana. You can track the work that you've done, that other people have done. We're not going to cover reporting today, that's another session, but you'll be able to see the different tasks and what's their status. And you'll be able to communicate with your teammate and be able to work together even so you're not in the same place. Now, I have this personal style which is not part of the Asana official training, but I always like to put Asana in perspective so people understand what Asana is. And if we look at how people organize their work across time, we had 1980s, 2000, we had a very organized way to make projects, which was with a project management tool. You can imagine a Gantt chart, a team of project manager. It's very complicated. It's for big projects. Very useful, but very complicated to use. In the year 2000, 2010, we started having this task management system. You might have used TaskRay or some of the other tools you have online. They're nice, but they're quite limited as well. It's just a task where you can collaborate, but they introduced the notion of collaboration and simplicity. And then when you look at 2010 now, and when Asana arrived and brought in the work management, we basically take both of them and put them together into a solution which is very user-friendly, but we can organize tasks more than in a task management system, but without the complexity of a project management tool. And also, and especially, I will add, you do your work in your work management platform, where before project management was for project managers, they're based in their office, they do their report, their calculation, and all these things. When you work in a work management tool, you actually do the job in it. And when you're thinking about how you're going to use Asana, where I've seen companies being successful is when they actually do the job in the task. If you use Asana just to report to your management where things are at, it works, but you limit a lot the added value you get from the tool. When you use it and when your team use it to actually do the job, that's where things start to flow really fast, because I'm not going to ASANA to report. I'm going there to get my information, to ask questions, to solve problems. And as I'm doing that and I'm organizing my work, it reports upstairs on what we're going to. So that's typically how we see it. Now, many people ask themselves, but I have already like, an email system, I have a shared file system, I have a messaging system, I have a mobile phone, I have all those things. Why do you want me to add ASANA? Well, ASANA is not going to be something you add on top of that. It's going to bring it all together. If you have work, you will have all your documents in SharePoint, in Google Drive, or in another one. But then, how do you match those documents to the work you're doing? And how do you communicate about it and collaborate around it is a different question. And then we do have messaging, we do have emails, we do have WhatsApp, we do have Teams, Zoom, and others. But how do we actually match those tools to the work we're doing? And so ASANA comes in the middle and is going to help us to organize on that and to make all this work together. Big advantage of that is we will be able to find all the messages, all the documents, all the tasks, all the communication and conversation in one place. And I don't know if you have not had this case. Thank you, Tracy, for the comment. But trying to find where you received the message, was it by email, was it by team, was it by WhatsApp? Where is that file? Is it in the shared drive? Is it on my home drive? Is it on my desktop? Or which version it is that I'm using? Am I using the right version? And then you don't know where to find information. And that's going to be a big help we get from ASANA. Another thing is that ASANA, and if you look at your organization, at each level, we're going to have a different type of information. We'll be interested into different things. We look at the top of the organization, we'll have like a target. We want to be the number one housing or builder region, or success story of one or another reason. So we have an objective, and then below that we will have teams that are led by top managers who have their KPIs, their goals, and then we have groups of projects that are managed within not teams but departments, such as events, design team that will, and then those will have projects. You have, as you can see here, the day, the events calendar, the design critic meeting, creative request. So we have different activities, different projects within those teams. And each of those will have different tasks to be done. And then they will have subtasks, and then we have comments. So in ASANA, we're going to map this hierarchy of the organization to your different levels so that we always have access to the information we need. If I'm working on a job, I don't really want to know the company tagline, but I am quite interested to know how my job actually contributes to the success of what the company is doing. And same way, if I want to measure how the company is succeeding, well, I'm probably not going to go into the details of the comment. But each level, we try to have the information displayed in the right way. So we're going to start with capture work with projects and tasks, and I'm soon going to jump into a demonstration. In ASANA, we have the concept of a project. And so in a project, you will have a group of tasks, and those tasks are going to be what we want to execute. I'm going to jump into a section of ASANA now, and I'm going to show you a little bit how all this articulates. So this is my ASANA, or the ASANA that you have been invited to. And if you log in today, you'll be able to see my ASANA Q&A here, which I mentioned before, and you can go here to actually ask your questions at any point in time. I'll make a break at the end of the session to go through the questions. I'm actually going to open it here. So we have it handy. This is the ASANA interface. I won't give you a tour today, but what's important to see is we have the plus button here, where we can create different things. So projects or tasks. We can also send a message or invite someone to, I don't know. And then two other places we'll be looking at a bit later will be my tasks and inbox. And what's really interesting is here we also see all the projects we've created. When I'm going to create a project in a few seconds, I'll be able to add another project in my list here. Now we're on the home page. The home page can be customized too. We won't cover that today, but it shows you my task, your goals, and your projects that you've most recently been consulting. The interface of ASANA is not much more difficult than that. So what we're going to do today is we're going to together create a project. I invite you all to log into ASANA and to go to this home page and to click on the create project button. I'll give you a few seconds to do that. And while you are all logging in and doing this, the project we're going to look at today is going to be a project of, you can pick anything really. Let's say we're going to build a house, if you want. Yes.
Martin, can you provide the link to there? I don't know where to go. I've got access to the Q&A. I can see that, but I don't know where to be going.
So once you have received the invitation and you've clicked on it, Tracy, are you already in ASANA?
I'm in ASANA now, yeah.
Okay, so because most of you already have an ASANA account, what happens is you will have two ASANA open at the same time. So what you can do is maybe if you click here on the top right, you will see that you will have this, and normally you should have a second panel on the left side here with two ASANA. One's would be housing and one's would be the ASANA demo. And you probably want to...
Is that a ASANA demo? Is that the one we want?
Yeah, you need to go to the ASANA demo one. And then you should see what we see here.
I am there now. Thank you.
Well, that was a good question. So yes, ASANA, when you have, and for more global explanation, when you have part of 2 or 3 organizations, you can have one user for 2 or 3 different setup of ASANA organization. Then you need to switch between the different one here for confidentiality reason. Each of them stays in different bucket, and you need to switch buckets. So that's what happens sometimes. All right, so because there's a lot of people in construction and housing today, I propose that we're going to build a house together. So we have the ability to go on top here and we'll be creating a project. And when we create a project, you can start different ways. There's the import a spreadsheet. We don't use that too often, really. Import spreadsheet is when you have it in an Excel that you were working on before and you want to import it. I'm not going to cover that today. That's usually used when you do a transition. Don't use it much after. You can use a blank project or you can use a template project. Before we jump in, I'm going to cover the template quickly. A template project, you have the ability to use templates in ASANA, and those templates means you have a preset of tasks, customization that comes with it. And when you say use the template, it's going to ask you when do you want this new project to start, and then it's going to use the template you have and create a new one with a new start date. Now in ASANA, you have a set of templates that are provided by ASANA to start working. And those templates are quite general. They will give you, for example, a meeting agenda here, or creative request, or 2 times meeting agenda, or products, stand-up meeting, bug tracking. So they will come with a set of customization that will help you to start to have a good view at different customization. They can be quite useful as a starting point. But what's more interesting is that you also will be able to create your own template later. And I'll cover that very quickly in this session. If you want to know more about templates, you can ask me as well, and we can cover that together. Now, for the purpose of today, we're just going to create a blank project, and you can create, my dream house. My dream house, Martin, so you can find it. And please listen exercise also. You're expected to do it as well on your end. And then we're going to choose which team it's set up. So teams are a way to group your project into a group of projects to live. So Charlie's leaving, sorry. Where do we enter ASANA download from software? Rebecca, you have a questions to where do we enter ASANA download from software? I don't understand the question. If you want to jump in and or add into the chat, I'll be happy to answer, but I did not quite understand the question. So moving forward, you do have to select a team. So you put your project into a team, and then people that are in this team will automatically have access to your project. Now, it doesn't mean that people in other team can't, but by default, the people in the team will. And then the second question that being requested here is, what is the first custom view and default view you're going to use? We're going to see in a second, there's different ways we can display a project. A list would be like an Excel spreadsheet. A board would be more like a Kanban view. And timeline would be more like a Gantt chart. And again, a calendar a bit more like your Google or Office.
Once we set the default view, can we change that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
I will show you how to. So you're all part of the staff team, so you should be able to add it here. Then I'm going to click create. And now it's creating my project, my initial project. I'm going to go through a few things about the project before we actually start configuring it. The first thing is that you have an icon with your project. I can click on the icon, and I can assign a color or a new icon or a custom icon. So you can upload an image from the project, customize visual things. The second thing is we have here the name of the project. We have a drop down, which you can see, and we have the star link here. And you see that in ASANA, I'm going to star it. I'm going to show up on the left-hand side here. See? Makes it a lot easier to find it back again. Use it to create a shortcut or something for the main project you're working on at the moment. And then we have the project details, which is what we've just set up, the owner, the due date, which we won't cover today, a team that has access to name, and you can put the project description. You also here can change the color, can review your project permissions. So who can modify the project, and we can manage the project memberships. So who can say, who can do what, who can modify the project. You can duplicate your project. So if you had a project that you want to do the same, you duplicate it, you can duplicate all the tasks and all the configuration. And if you wanted to make this project a template, you would click at save as a template. But you won't cover that right now. And send a project link. So if you want to share the project with someone and you're having difficulties, that's actually quite a good way to do it. You copy the link up, and then you send it by email to someone. If they have ASANA, they click on it and they get access. And you can also export it or archive it. Archiving in ASANA is a notion where you don't delete the information, so it's not visible anymore on the interface. You can still search it, but not on the interface. So those are, if you have a question, don't hesitate. Here you're clicking and trying everyone, which is great. If you have questions, don't hesitate. Then here on the right-hand side, we're going to see share and who has currently access to the project. So when I click share, I will be able to see who can do what. And because I added the project to the staff team, then all the people in the staff are editors. I can change that to, be commenters only or project admin, but all the people in the same team are here and access. And then I have this access. And then I can say, for example, Tracy, I can give her admin access, for example, and supersede the access that she has. Yes, admin, you can break everything, Tracy.
Yeah. You don't want to do that.
It's a demo instance. You can break everything, no problem. And then another thing you can do is you can make it private. So at the moment it's shared with all the people in the team, but say, for example, you want to have a project that is just for you and 2 or 3 other people that have some confidential information, and you don't want to be worried about who has access to it, you can just click the private number here, and that will make it private. And one last thing you want to do is, well, I'm looking for a notification. Now, the project on top has those tabs. You remember at the beginning, we created the list view. Now we can go to the list view, and together we're going to be able to start creating tasks for our dream house project. Maybe you can come up with your own task, let's say, and please create your own task when we do that. First task is probably to come up with a concept. And then to, I don't know, find the location. And to, you know, save some money. We have done that earlier. So I'm typing here and I'm creating my task. Better. And each of those tasks here, I'm able to click on it, and then I'm able to assign them to someone or put a due date, is when this task needs to be completed. So if I click on each task, I'll be able to see the details of the task. Now I can assign it to, well, Tracy, because you have a lot of energy today. I'm kidding.
Why not? Give me everything.
And I can say to Tracy that she has from today until tomorrow to do it. So I can set a start date and an end date to the task. And now Tracy, you know, she knows that this is being assigned to her. She's going to receive an email to let her know it's assigned to her. If you want to go more in details, you can set up a time for the task and make it recurring if you want. And I'm going to explain to Tracy what we need to do. Say, Tracy, I can tag her. So she will be notified because I tagged her. Move to think what dream house. And because I've tagged Tracy, she's going to receive a message about it. I can also attach some files. So I can go here and I can select where I take the file from. So my Google Drive, my OneDrive, my computer, and I can attach the file to this specific task. I can do it very quickly. So I can go to my desktop and for today, up, I upload the file, and you can say I'm using the PowerPoint file. It's now attached to this specific task. Let's say I can then message Tracy, for example, and let her know I have uploaded the template. We'll show you example of others I like. You don't do typos like me everywhere, it's a lot better as well. And I can comment here. Now again, she's going to receive a message. You can see the file that is attached here. She doesn't have to go anywhere else to find it. And now let's say that Major, can you please check if this is in our budget? So Major, who's helping us with the budgeting on the house, you know, I'm asking him to help us on this task and make sure that, you know, what I'm proposing as design could fit. And you can see that while I actually started commenting and putting the name of people here, then they've been added at the bottom here as a collaborator. So now people that I've mentioned in the task are collaborator, and we're going to be able to communicate. They will receive notification when something is added to the task. And this is only one task. We have 3 here, and you know, we can add a few more. Now we need to find the builder. And we need to get lawyer. That's right. Now I'm starting to have quite a few tasks, and you should start having the same on your end. So you may want to start grouping them. What you can do is you can create a section, say, you know, creation, and then contracting, execution, and name and the webinar. And then take your task and you can move them into sections that will actually make it easier for you to group your tasks and find them. Right, move them all now. Move them one by one. We can select 7 at the same. Now that I have moved my task here, they're organized. I can also collapse this. So I can show them or hide them. That helps me to, not see too much information. In the same way, I also have filters here on top of the screen, so I can see only the tasks that are not completed, only the ones that are for me, and then I can create my own filter to see only what I need from the project. And say now that we want to add a field to capture some information about all these tasks, I'm able to click on that little plus here and say, well, I'd like to have a cost estimate. I'm going to put a budget. My cost estimate. And now we have an additional field, which is a budget field on each of the tasks. Find the builder, that costs 0. Get a lawyer, that costs a lot. So a big number. Concept, so 5,000. And location, whatever. So we now start having budget for our tasks and additional information in the sum. And use that as well in our filtering to actually not do it here to actually see only the task we want. All right. Is everybody doing okay with their project? Are you able to create some tasks to get some results here? Do you have any questions?
Hi there. How did you add the extra column or add field into that? I missed that bit.
Not a problem. So on the top right here, you have a plus button.
Yeah.
If you click the plus, it will give you several options.
So you've got to be within that actual line. Okay, cool.
My pleasure. And you can do different types. So I've done like one that is a dollar value. But you can also do like a drop down or a date field or people. So you can say, someone else.
I'm not seeing the plus sign in that line. I see the plus sign at the top level, which just adds a tab. But if I'm in the I'm not actually seeing ability to add a column, a plus sign in that area.
So if you don't see the plus here, what you can do is you can also access it from here. So you have a customized button on top.
Ah, right. Okay. I'll try that.
And then there's the ability here to, you have fields and you can click add fields.
Right. I'll try it from there then.
Yeah, I'm the same, Martin. I can't see the plus sign to add another field, so I usually just go to customize and add the field there.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Must be a browser thing. And when you go to customize, you have access. You're good. It's working, John. You can add the field.
I'm just going down. No, when I first look at it, it's not giving me. It says there are no custom fields in this project. So let me just see what else. Let me have a fiddle around here. No, I can see the option fields, but is anyone else able to add fields or columns?
I'm the same as you, John.
Yeah, me too. On the demo one, I can't seem to add in the customize one. So both of them don't work, Martin. I can't.
Okay.
In the
might be related to the fact that you are on a Timo and you are a guest on it. So you might not have access to add a custom field on this instance. Sorry for that. It should work in your final version. So in your version, you're using the housing version or the version you're using, depending which the one you have in your company, you should be able to do it. But here, maybe because you are a guest, you might not have this access to custom customization.
Yeah, I think that there's something amiss with access because I can't change the width of the columns fields either. So it's.
So my apologize, everyone. It's and John and Justin especially. It's because you are a guest. So in ASANA, we have people who are part of the organization and people who are external to the organization.
Yeah.
And because this is not your instance, not your ASANA, but an ASANA we use for the training, you are considered as external, and so it doesn't let you customize.
Yeah. So, John, if you wanted to add a field, you'll need to go into our housing ASANA instance.
Right.
Just click on your name, and then click down on the what is it? It's account. It's housing.qld.gov.au. Click on that one, and then click on any project, and then you'll be able to add fields from there. But yeah, as Martin said, because we're guests, we can't do it in this environment.
My apologies, I forgot. Next time I'll ask that to people. As I mentioned, it's the first time I give that training, so there will be a little bit of hiccups here and there.
So that project, though, doesn't carry across. Obviously, it's a different environment. Is that what we'd have to recreate?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. What we're doing here is purely for the training. What you do here is not going to stay after. Well, it will be there, but it won't be every day.
Okay, cool. Just as long as I understand that.
Is anyone else having any other issues? Thank you, Vicky. Are you with us? Okay. So you can create your different tasks here. You can try to message each other or someone else to see how it works. And then just to give you a bit of a tour, at the beginning, we decided that we wanted to use a list view for our project. We also had the options of a board view, a timeline view, of a calendar view. We chose lists, but as you requested, yes, we can change the view after. And you can see now that if I switch on top here, in the list view, the board view, I see the same information. So we still have preparation, contracting, execution. We still have our tasks. We still have the same information, but the display is different. So the same project, you can have it on the list view, the board view, or in a timeline where I can see the task in a Gantt chart. And if I modify it in one view, yeah, it's also going to update the other view here. So those 4 tabs, we'll be able to add a few more after, they will always display us the same information, which is the tasks, but different display. But if we modify one, it will modify the other. Now, the board view is kind of nice because it helps you to use those fields here for if you want to process, for example. I can have preparation, say now I think we call that approval, execution completed. And I say that I'm not having phases of my project, but I have tasks that comes and I'm going back to that. I have tasks that comes in and I want to put them in different columns to show where they are. So, find the builder, we're working on it. Has it been approved? Yes, it's been approved. We're going to look and to find a business builder, and now we're doing it. So I move it to execution, and that has been completed. So I'm going to complete it. So it's another way to use a project. This one in the list view, the board view would be more for delivery approach. It's different stages of the task. Timeline view is more something you would use for Gantt chart or a project where tasks depends from each other. So if I say come up to a concept here, and then the next task is to find a location, so I can here set up a date for the find a location, and I can make those 2 tasks here dependent from each other, and say if I can only, find the locations when I know the concept, but I need to find a location that matches the size of the concept. So I'm going to need to do the concept first before to find the location. And so I'm going to take roll over on one of those tasks. And then if I learn to click, up, I click, I have this little dot here, I can move. And I'm going to move it to the final location. And we can now see that those two tasks depends from each other. So I need to come up with a concept before I go and find the location. And the logo of the task has changed certain timer here. So we know this task depends on another task. They're both related now. If I go back to my list view, I will also see that my find a location task now also depends from another task, and there is a timer information. Now this is quite useful because if this is assigned to Tracy and the next task is assigned to John, for example, then John will have it in his to-do list. But if Tracy has some delay in finding the concept, then she can adjust how long she thinks she needs to do the job. And then that's going to adjust for John when he needs to do the job. But he can't start it before Tracy is finished. So he won't have to worry about, I was scheduled to do that on Friday, I couldn't do it. He knows it's been rescheduled to Monday because we had some delays with the concept. So setting up some simple relationship between tasks like this helps to stay in sync between each other and to stop from asking where are things at. Can I start my job? Because now you know your job has been delayed. There's no need to send a message, make a phone call. So this is the list view, the board view, the timeline, and then we have the calendar view. Calendar view, which shows the task, surprisingly, in the calendar view. And zoom in and zoom out. And we see our task that we can see here in the calendar. We are also able to set up a field that we're going to use for coloring of the task. Then we can color those tasks. So we're going to set up a field. Yeah, another one which is called priorities. And now I'm going to be able to set different priority level, high or not high, no. And we can see the task and we can see they have different color. The same thing applies to the timeline. We'll be able to see the coloring here. So now I know that this task is dependent on that one. I know my task has been delayed because the other one has been delayed. And now I know the level of priority on my task, not having to ask or even open the task. The same applies to the board view. We're going to see that specific field here inside. Those four tasks are very, very important. You also now have the ability to add another tab, which is called a Gantt chart, which is very similar to a timeline view, but more rigorous and more complex. It's more for project management. People still use the timeline view because it's nice and easy to use, but you can use the Gantt chart. Now, you might decide that you don't need all of those. For example, I don't need a calendar view. So you can go, you can click on it, and you can remove it. And then you won't have a calendar view anymore on this project. You can also say, yes, I said I wanted the list view to be the default, but now I actually like the board view better. So I click, and now I set it as the default view. I can also go here, and I can say on this view, I only want to see the incomplete task. And I can click this save button here, and it's going to save for me the filtering for everyone, whatever you think, the filtering here, so that next time I come back to the board view, it's already pre-filtered from only incomplete task. I can also say that timeline view, I don't like timeline. I want to rename it. Something else would be a time view, or you can have several timelines and you can filter them differently. and you can name them differently. For example, I can have a list view, and I can call that John to-dos. And on that one, I'm going to add a feature. I want to see only one that the job. Let me click. Save it. So now I have a to-do list for John on this view, and I'm going to, make a copy of this list, and I'm going to call it Tracy to-dos. And this time, I put the feature into Tracy. Oops. And I save it. Now I've got two tabs, one for John, one for Tracy. And I forgot to save. And I've been able to customize my project and my project view to something that makes more sense. So far, is everybody okay? Hello?
Yep, all good.
Justin, am I more in line with what we need for 101 training?
Yeah, this is perfect. It's really stepping us through nice and slowly, for the obviously beginner users. So it's really good. Thanks.
Thank you. All right, so I'm the project manager, and what we've seen so far is I've set up my project. I started creating tasks. I've set up a timeline. I've added someone responsible. I've also added people to work with me. And I'm going to, if I was Tracy, I'm not Tracy. If I was Tracy, I can come down here and say, well, to come up with a concept, I need first, to have a chat with my hubby. And then we need to go and on a weekend and talk about it. So to complete that job here, I'm going to have two subtasks, call them subtasks. So I've been able to create them here, and I can see here I have subtasks. I can also, oops, normally I should be able to, I don't know why I'm not. See a subtask, and we're able to go into the subtask, and the subtasks are exactly like a task. They have the same details, but they're part of a bigger task. And when you are on your list view, here we go, you can also open your task and see what are the subtasks. So what are the items we need to tick to complete that job. So if you decide to give a job to someone, you can help this person by breaking down tasks into smaller elements. Say you have a newbie that just joined the business, it doesn't know how to come up with a concept. We're going to break it down. We're going to tell it, you do this, you do that, you do that, you do that. And they can come and they can check each of them, and they completed it. When they completed it all, they can complete the major task. So that's a nice way to break down your work. Don't put too much into a subtask. That's my recommendation to you, because there are some limitations. So use it more as a checklist when someone has to do a job. It's very useful in that way to give instruction. If you start having too many subtasks, it's difficult, and try to go into sections and put more tasks. Is usually a better way to do it. Know that the subtask can be assigned to someone else than the main task, and that it can have a completely different deadline. I've covered what I wanted to do here for this project view. There are more things you can do. There's a lot more, but I think that should give you a good place to start. Another thing in the project is you have these other tabs here. So workflow is complicated. We won't touch it today, but you have also the files view, which will show you all the files across all the task. If you've lost a file, it's a nice way to find it. And you also have a dashboard that comes up with, And this is by default coming. You don't have to do anything. You can customize it if you want to. But it comes by default here. And it will show you task completed, incomplete task, overdue task, total task. We'll show you also this chart, which I personally really like. It's what we call a burn-up chart. So it shows you per day how many new jobs were created against how many we were able to complete. If you're afraid to be overloaded, this is what you need to do to see it. You can also see tasks by assignee and other information, and you can create new chart with this new button here. I'll let you click if you want to go there and have a play. All right. If no questions, I'm going to move to the next step. If you have a question, now is the moment.
Actually, I did have one question, Martin.
Yes.
So say in a project, we've completed it and we tick the thing and we go, and and it goes green.
Mm-hmm.
If I delete that, because it starts to fill up my my tasks, and if I say click on the delete task, does that delete it permanently?
So if I go here and I delete the task?
Yeah, so say I create a task, I complete it, and then I delete. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, it will delete it permanently.
I see. Okay.
So if it's starting to annoy you, what I recommend is just change the filter and say show only incomplete task.
Good idea. Thanks.
That usually, in the cloud, generally we try not to delete because you will regret it in a year or two when you want to start generating some stats or do a report or something.
Gotcha. Thanks.
In the same way, Justin, we also have the concept of archiving the project. So if it's not a task, but the entire project you've completed and you don't want to see it anymore, you can just archive it here. And I will hide it, but it will not delete it.
Oh, cool.
Cool. Now, a little trick for the one who likes to, look at their project and see what went wrong. Say, for example, we here have this task and it was scheduled for today to the 19th, but the funny location project was late and it delayed everything. And we want to know what delayed our project. You can go to the Gantt chart, and we now have this new function here on the Gantt option. And we're going to be able to say, I want to know how it was scheduled yesterday compared to how it is now. So yesterday there was nothing.
So Martin, would that allow us, because on that one, find a location, I said, well, I found a location and I ticked completed. Then I came back and said, oops, actually the locations basically fell through and I need to go and start again. Would that be able to look at those changes over time?
So it will show you, it will show you what has made your.
Oops, everything's frozen.
Yeah. Okay, so I've opened another project here. And because the problem is the one we have, we just did it now, so there's no history. But you see this project was scheduled like this.
Yep.
And say, we can see that complete the research is a prerequisite to make sure the assets are created. And now we're going to say, complete the research is late, and therefore this has been delayed. But now I'm the project manager and I come back and I want to know, well, that's great, guys.
Did he just freeze?
Yes, he is frozen.
I thought it was me.
No, Nigel and Sean did a really good job of not moving as well. So thanks, guys. It looked like everyone was frozen. Can you next time move?
Sorry. Do you see it now? Or not?
Yeah, we can see it. You just froze for quite some time then. We all were having a go at you.
I'm a bit
But
slow
you're back.
sometimes. Just be
You're back.
nice. It's the beginning of the year. I'm just warming up. Okay, so you see here, you'll be able to see how long it was scheduled for initially, and then you see the second chart shows you how long it actually took to do. So it will show you that if whoever is this person, Sophie is late on delivering her task, it's actually not her fault. It's because here, Peter was actually having a beer for 3 days.
Martin, when we're making adjustments like this, you've obviously got your baseline and then you've got your adjustments. Is it easier to do it in the Gantt chart than doing it in another format? I'm just thinking about, like, you know, because I'm used to text and stuff. And is it easier to do it in the Gantt chart to make those changes?
I prefer personally, I will use, but you can do it anywhere. It will, you will still see the result here. So
So
you can,
if you went back to by a list, if you went back to this via a list view, yep. And in here, if we've changed the dates, you're not going to see it the same way that we see it in the Gantt chart. It's just going to change the dates. You won't see the history. You have to look at it in the Gantt chart. That'd be correct, wouldn't it?
you will see it in both places. So it's going to update here. And then if I go back to the Gantt chart, it will also show you here on the baseline that since I've moved. But you have changed it and shows you here as well.
Yeah, it's just in the list. You just see the dates. You don't see the variance between what it was to what it is now. That's the difference. Yep.
Yeah. So it's only in the Gantt chart that you can see your.
You get the history of the changes.
Yeah. And you can vary the date. So you can say, how was it yesterday? How was it last week? How was it 2 weeks ago? You can change when you want to compare it to.
Oh yeah, cool.
Okay, a little bit out of scope as well, but there's another thing that's really, really, really powerful. So if you have your project and your team is running the project, you can ask them to report on the project. Because if we look at the variance, that's why I'm talking about it, you know, people are telling you everything's okay, everything's okay, everything's okay. Wow, we crashed. Why? Yep. You know, you told me last week it was okay, the week before it was okay, and then suddenly we crashed. So then it comes back to accountability as well. And what we do in that case, there's this function here, which is really, really cool. It's the reporting function. And that replaces the email that you receive that says, could you please send me a status report on the project? So you can go here or anywhere in the project and you say status, or you do it here as well. I'm going to report it on track. And when I do that, I can say, well, as of today, task completed for the past 4 weeks, 0, we've done nothing. Tasks that are overdue, 19. And then I can say, hi boss, we are getting late. No one is working on it. And I'm probably not going to report it on track. I'm going to report it off track. And I can say incomplete task by ASANA and add this one. And I can say, especially Amy. I'm being bitchy a bit here. So I'm going to post that. And now against that project, you can see it's off track and you have a status report. And if someone reports, you can say that it asks every week on Friday for people to do a report. And then you will see the history here. So if I do a second one now, I'll just drop a few information quickly just to give you an example. I'll actually post. Now, if I click, you can see we have 2 status reports. Both were done today in our case. But we can see the history of how the project was reported. It was reported green, it was reported at risk, no one did nothing, at risk again, and then off track. Well, we should have reacted. We did not. Now we can ask ourselves why. When people post a project status report here, it goes into the message box, and all the people that are on the project receive a notification, and you can then go here and say @Alan. So I'm going to ask myself here, or Amy, because Amy she was not focusing. Amy, could you please jump on this project? We are getting ready. So we can react to a status report and ask someone to do something directly from there. But the most important is you can report very quickly. You can automate the fact that we ask people to do it on a weekly basis. And you can also come back and you have a history of it. It's recorded. So you cannot hide from it. It's done. If you want to ask people to report it every week, you can just go here, top right here, up somewhere. I got the zoom bar in the middle. Remind me to update every Friday. So you can send you a reminder every Friday to do a status update. I don't speak about the AI here. Yes, sorry, John, I've got a good tip from Dion. Thank you, Dion. You want to speak, John?
Yeah, just a quick one. This assumes that resources are only working on one project. How does this work when you're working on, say, half a dozen projects?
Okay, so I'm going to go to, and you're right to bring me back here because there's only 15 minutes left. The next step is, this is what we see when we are a project manager. But if I have 15 projects, as you see, I don't want to click to each of the projects to know what I have to do today. And to answer the question, John, we will go to my task here. So my task is what should, in theory, replace my inbox of my Outlook every day. This is where I can start my day, and I would see my tasks that are assigned to me, and I can organize them the way I like. So I should start my day, normally go to my task, and I will see what is expected from me today, tomorrow, what is overdue. So this screen, you can also again see it as a list view. I see all my late tasks here. I can also see it as a board view or a calendar to see what are the tasks I'm supposed to do today. And when I look at the task itself, I will see the task, I will see the project, I see people who are working on it, the due date, and any other information I want to see on the task, and I can open it also directly from there. So we had the project view where I organize my teamwork, and then I have my task where I organize my work. Now, this way, today, I've organized it into a late, today, tomorrow, or something else. But you can organize it any way you like. So you are able to create, you see the ones that are approvals, private task, later, shopping list, or whatever you want, and you can group your tasks together to see what you have to do and where you put your effort and priority. And each of the tasks here will have a little coloring, which will tell you which project it is actually attached to as well. Does that answer your question, John?
Yeah, no, that's really useful. Thank you.
So that was actually the next part of managing the work. I speak too much, that's no problem. So organize my task. You can receive your work here. You negotiate due date, I don't know. So I receive my work here. I can see what I've been assigned. I've been assigned this job by Alan. There's a list of custom fields. There's a description. So I say add Alan. I want to make it on time. And I actually get an additional week. It's better. Up. So I can put a comment here, message Alan, and ask him to change the deadline. Or I can go on this one and say, Alan again. Alan. Below, will we get another? Thank you. So we can ask questions here directly. When I'm done with my job, I can post the results here, and I can actually mark it as complete, and the task will disappear from my to-do list. I know it's done, and the person who assigned the task to me is going to receive a notification letting them know the job is done. And I have moved on. So that's That's for my task. It's available for everyone. By default, it does not come with this late today, tomorrow, different columns. It just comes with recently assigned, and then you can, create your own as well. You can completely customize it your way. What I've done here is something I demonstrated in another session. Is I actually automate it so that it keeps it organized for me and put in today what is expected from me today. Because the way I like to work is I arrive and I look at what is late first, and then I look at what is due for me to do today, and then I look at what I need to do tomorrow if I've finished everything else. But not everybody does it this way. Any question on that specific part? If you want, you can go to your My Task and have a look. You can do is you create a new task and assign it to yourself. A task doesn't have to be in a project. So you can use My Task to just create your to-do list, your personal one. No one else will see it, just for you. And you can also, on the right-hand side of your My Task, you should be able to see up other section, and you can create your own section as well. I'll let you do that. We've lost John. All right. Now, if everybody's okay with My Task, I'm going to cover the last section, which is the inbox. So that solves another problem. When I usually receive an email, we have several issues. First of all, I need to get the context of that email. What's that about? Has there been communication before on that? Who is involved into this email? And then if there were attachments before, I might not have them. I might have just the last or the latest attachment. And I have to open another software for that. So the information is again somewhere. Now in ASANA, we have an inbox. And this inbox will show here on top left. It won't show you 2000 messages unread. It will just show you a little dot like this. And then from there, you will be able to see what people are communicating with you on. And when you click on each of the message, you will not only see the message, you will see the task. So you will see the task, you will see which project it's from. You will be able to see all the custom fields, the description of the job, the subtasks, and you'll also be able to see the latest communication that happened on this. That's what we call contextual communication. And the idea is that instead of going to your inbox and drowning into one email to understand what has happened and where it comes from, you have all the information available here. Now from there, you can respond directly from here. Problem on it. I can comment. I can also remove myself from the task as a collaborator, and I don't want to be involved anymore. So I remove myself from it. Now I'm not going to receive notification from this anymore. I can also have a look at this, and I can archive the notification. So I can go and remove the notification I've already answered. I can create a task to follow up later. So notification is quite useful. Personally, I use them a lot. I still receive my emails in my mailbox. Probably I shouldn't, but I just receive a lot of notifications, and I don't do only work in ASANA. But it actually helps me a lot to, when I get a notification, find the task that is related, find the files that are related to that communication, and then find the history and be able to give very quickly a structured answer to what people are asking me. Someone has a question on My Task? Voilà, that's, I hope today I've covered, I'm reaching the end, I think, of the presentation. Only one slide, but thank you, Dion, for your support. So this is just slides that comments what we did today. Effectively, I was at the end of the presentation for today. So as I mentioned today, we've looked at the basics of ASANA, what you can expect from it as a solution, where to use it, and how to use it. We've looked at a project, how to create one from a standard template, but also from scratch. How to create tasks and how to create sections, how to customize your project, and then how to use it to communicate and resolve a problem together. I hope that was useful. The next session will be around reporting and how we use the information we've collected to actually generate reports. Voilà. Thank you very much, everyone. If you have any questions, feel free to shoot.
Martin, Tracy had one where there's recording. How do you make this available to us? Because we'd like to forward this to other team members as well.
Absolutely. So after this session, there will be an email sent to all participants, which will have a link to the recording.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thanks.
My pleasure.
Thanks.
You have a beautiful day, guys. And I'll see you next week. I
Thank
guess.
you, Martin.
Thanks, Martin. That was great.
Bye, Martin. Thanks, bud. Thanks,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Thank you.
My pleasure. Have a good day.